Hey guys, the following video you're about to watch is me reviewing a Silver 1 AD carries profile who wants to get to Platinum. Basically, I break down 3 core areas that they need to fix in order to go from Silver 1 to Gold 4 to Gold 3 to Gold 2 to Gold 1, eventually to Plat 4. Those 3 things are their champion pool, their laning phase, and their team fighting. Guys, I hope you enjoy this video, and if you want your profile reviewed, please, once you've watched this, check out the links in the YouTube description below. Let's get into the video. Currently, you're Silver 1 with the goal rank of getting to Platinum. So basically what you're trying to do is go from the top 40% of players to the top 10%. And that's a really big jump. It's not impossible, and you've got some really good foundations here, which I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. But there are also a couple of things that you will need to fix, focus on, and improve on. So let's get into this profile review. So I'm going to use Mobalytics for this one because there's a bit more data. Obviously, with preseason, it scuffs up op.gg's analytics. But what we can see here is some really good LP gain information. We can see some really good win rates. And we can see some really good insights in terms of goal difference and damage share. And we'll go back to op.gg to talk a little bit about your kill participation. So the first thing, and this is one of the most major things that you need to figure out in order to get to Platinum as a Silver 1 AD carry, is your champion pool. Right now, you're playing a lot of champions. I can see even just here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 champions with 40 or more games on them. And when you're playing 400 games a season and you've got this much of a champion pool diversity, it's just hard to learn and master every single champion. And to be honest, you've actually done a surprisingly really good job. Like 63% win rate, 60% win rate, 54% win rate on Jhin, Tristana 59%. Misfortune's been holding you back a bit, and as you can see, she's only really helped you gain 32 LP, which isn't much. And then we can see some even other champs here, which you've got your Jinx and you've got your Caitlyn as well, which are playing a lot of. So my first piece of advice to you, if you're looking to go from the top 40% of players to the top 10%, you need to cut down your champion pool. Now, I will say this with an asterisk, because what's more important than cutting down your champion pool is making sure you have fun. So if this, Garon, is obviously, if this is really the way you like to have fun, playing a big champion pool, and by big champion pool, I mean anything more than 3 champions on your main role, if that's really how you want to play League of Legends, you can do it. Just understand that it's going to take longer, it's going to be harder, and you may never reach that goal of Platinum with a big champion pool. Because the players who get to the top 10% are doing what the 90% of players aren't doing. 90% of players love large champion pools. 90% of players love to play whatever they want and love to have a great, big, diverse champion pool that they can, interchange with. 90% of players like to play a lot of different champions because they get bored on having a small champion pool. So just understand that your goal of getting to Platinum needs to relate to your willingness and what your willingness to put in and effort you want to put in to get to your goal rank. Because if that doesn't match up, climbing is going to be difficult. So what I recommend for you, if you're looking to slim up your champion pool, is I would limit it to maximum 3 champions, ideally 1. Honestly, if you're trying to get to Platinum in the quickest time possible, just one trick Tristana. You've got a 59% win rate on over 78 games, which is 5% higher than your average. And all you need to do to climb to Platinum from Silver 1 is have at least a 55% win rate over an entire season, and you'll eventually get there. I would cut out your Misfortune. You could keep your Jhin, and I would suggest choosing between Ashe or Ziggs. I really like the Ziggs pick because it's very different to your Jhin and Tristana. Ziggs is an AP pick. Not played very much, and also not many people know how to play against him, and he also is really good for for team composition diversity. So when your team's too heavily AD, you can always go Ziggs bot lane, or if your team's too heavily AP, you can just go your Tristana or your Ashe or your Jhin. But what I recommend is choosing 3. Ideally, if you could just one trick, ideally 2 trick, if you can just 2 trick, and then 3 trick is maximum of what I would recommend. Now, moving on what else you need to fix in order to get to Platinum. First thing is making sure your champion pool aligns to how you want to play League of Legends and making sure you have fun with that champion pool. Having fun is the key to climbing in League of Legends. That's the most important factor. Everything comes secondary to that. But just understand the more fun we want to have sometimes is a little bit counterintuitive to climbing. So there's this perfect balancing act between having fun and making sure you've got a strategy that is conducive to climbing. Second thing I want to talk about is your goal difference at laning phase at 15 minutes, which basically means you are losing laning phase most of your games. Because you have an average goal difference of negative 313 at 15 minutes, this basically suggests to me that you have a very, very, very weak laning phase. And the good news is you're losing laning phase, yet you're still winning 54% of your games, which suggests you have a really strong macro or mid to late game understanding, which is really good. But we need to focus on your laning phase in terms of what to focus in game. You need to focus on your laning phase. So I have a suspicion looking at your CS per minute and looking at your deaths per game. So your CS per minute at 5.8 overall and your deaths per game of 6.2. I have a feeling that you're not focusing on CS enough in laning phase and you're dying too much in laning phase. Laning phase, particularly as an AD carry, is all about farming and setting yourself up for kill opportunities, not forcing kill opportunities. When you have 6.2 deaths per game on average, that makes me think that you're forcing kill opportunities on the enemy and you're not understanding when to go in and when just to focus on CS. Generally, in silver, in gold, in platinum, any rank really, CS and laning phase, it should all just be about consistency and focusing on income from the safest source in the game, which is CSing. You just need to focus on your CS for the first 15 minutes of the game. The kills will come. The enemy will misstep. Your jungler will come gank. As long as you're focusing on the CS, everything else is then secondary to that, because your CS is going to be your biggest and most consistent source of income over the entire season of the game, and your goal difference at 15 is a key indicator of that. So that is the biggest thing that you need to work on in your actual gameplay, is your CSing and your deaths in the first 15 minutes of the game. Now, moving on to the next thing, and this is really an interesting finding, because although you generally lose laning phase, you have a 54% win rate, yet your kill participation is quite low. The fact that you only have a 39% kill participation as an AD carry is quite concerning to me. This kill participation makes me think that you really don't group enough with your team and are helping in key moments of the game. So when we think of League of Legends in-game after laning phase, win conditions become a lot more apparent. And most win conditions in League of Legends, when the game's pretty even, or maybe you're just a little bit behind or a little bit ahead, win conditions are all based around team activities and moments where there's basically 4 or more champions gathering in one spot on the map to do something. So that could be a Baron, that could be a mid lane team fight, that could be a Dragon, that could be a Rift Herald, that could be taking an inhibitor, that could be taking a tier 1 mid turret. These key moments are where AD carries naturally shine in mid to late game. AD carries are all about augmenting team fights. AD carries are not initiators of team fights, but they're the highest or one of the highest damage dealers in games, because when they're grouped in a team fight and you play AD carry properly, you're allowed to do a lot of damage while not dying or before you die. So what you need to focus on after you fix your laning phase and get this, I would say, to a plus 200 goal difference at 15, what you need to focus on is looking at how you can group more often with your team in key moments of the game. Regardless if you think it's a bad group or you think they're coin flipping, if you're there, you can make the active decision of, yes, this might be a team fight I disagree with, but if I join in, I can make the difference between this being a bad decision and a good decision. As long as you're there and able to decide, hey, I'm going to join this team fight, or hey, I'm not going to join this team fight, that is way better than if you just decide to, no, I'm going to stay bot and split push. Because when you stay bot and split push, you are basically committing that your team is going to lose the fight. And split pushing as an AD carry, as much as you probably don't want to hear it, that's not the win condition. It's not a consistent win condition, and you can't rely on that to climb to platinum. The most consistent win condition for AD carries, after you fix your laning phase and you have a really good champion pool, a small champion pool that's focused on positive win rates, is you need to group early, group often, and group whenever your team is trying to team fight. Because that is where an AD carry can influence the game the most. Garon, I hope you've enjoyed this profile view. 2 things I think you would greatly benefit from if you are interested in paid coaching. The first one is we have weekly AD Carry Masterclasses. I'm sure you've heard of them in the Discord. That's a $10 a month subscription. If you're interested in that, hit me up. We talk about all this stuff. Laning phase, team fighting, champion pool selection. It's all specialized for AD Carry. So if you're interested in that, DM me on Discord. The second one is if you're looking for a coach to take you from Silver 1 to Platinum and take you through every single step and every single hurdle along the way. So Silver 1 to Gold 4, to Gold 3, to Gold 2, to Gold 1, and eventually to Plat 4 and beyond, I would recommend my monthly ranked climbing plan. And this is a service that I've just gotten some more openings available for. And basically what we do is you get 1 live game review a month, you get a profile review, you get a statistical breakdown and monthly focus areas, and then you have coaching support to help unblock every single hurdle you have along the way. So for example, your first month, it would all be focused on fixing your laning phase, making sure that this goal difference at 15 minutes goes from negative 300 to plus 250, to plus 300 to plus 350. Garon, if you're interested in either of those, please, once you've watched this, hit me up on Discord. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this profile view. I think those 3 things, your champion pool, your goal difference of 15, so your laning phase, and then focusing on grouping more. If you can get those 3 things down packed, I really do think you can make it to Platinum next season. Cheers, good luck on the Rift, and once you've watched this, please hit me up.